This is just an Amazon on Wednesday, April 25th, 2018. Taking a look at the pre-market on Amazon that actually dipped below the 1450 area here yesterday, right here. It's like, could it go lower? Came back up, kind of, snuck a little bit below it here and then came back up. It's like, okay, it's pretty flat on the open, but after that consolidation, and that move, I mean, lower is totally feasible. A signal going down below it. I mean, there's some selling here. This was, let's see if I can get my candle, my cursor on the candle. 3,000 shares, moving it that much. So that's your first signal saying could go lower. Besides breaking this line yesterday, and now we're just dancing on the line here. So we'll step into the day, and we've got a candle that looks like it's going to start buying up and comes right into the pre-market resistance here and just sinks down below it. Now you're at the same level you were yesterday, right through here, relative low here, right here today. And all that over there is not really relevant. So we'll zoom in a little bit more on just a little bigger candle for today. Anyway, bearish, be bearish. Next candle drops even more, takes out this low. Okay, should have been in bearish if you're going bearish. I think our next line is around 1404. It's been so long, I'm not entirely positive. It comes down a little lower, and here's a little bit of a pause. Here's an inside 5-minute candle. You had the first candle that was this volume, not quite as high as some of those spikes yesterday, but this one gets up to the same level of the aftermarket, and actually gets higher than some of the earlier candles from yesterday. Another candle pretty high on volume, and then this retracement candle here. Sorry, I just lost the cursor. There you go. So inside candle, this is a little bit of a pause. Who knows how quickly it could reverse that and just continue going down. If you're trading this, you want to be aggressive on maybe a 1 minute, probably a 1 minute. But we're looking at the 5. And so come back up pretty close to the 5 exponential indecision candle. So right now it's, you can put a stop up here on 1437 and trigger down here on 1429. Look for it to continue lower, or reverse that if you want it to go higher. And it immediately goes lower. This candle is a very strong candle. We increase on our volume a little bit. It's not quite a shaved top and not quite a shaved bottom. So it's close, around $1 or less on either end. Lots of selling. This is a great pause here for 15 minutes in this area. And then a nice indecision candle here that, you're already up probably an R if you got in there, if you got filled. Come down here and throw in a really amazing indecision candle again. It's like, okay, this could definitely continue lower, but we've gone so far on these, and we have some indecision candles, through here yesterday, through here, down here, and what are these going to be now? We have 2 candles in a row, 2 bullish candles in a row, pretty early in the day. We didn't really have that for a while yesterday. Didn't really till here. We're way earlier than 9:50, 9:55, 10 o'clock. We're right at the 9 o'clock hour. And now we throw in an upper wick, so there's more selling, people coming in to sell. And it moves below the, trying to keep it below the 5 exponential. A little bit of a flag here. Looks like it could totally continue down. Indecision and a much smaller candle. And this is the one, okay, if you still had a stop up here, you got to put it here. Indecision, you could even put it right here if you really want to lock in a little bit of a gain. You don't want to give all that back. And then if it's going to go lower, you got to break lower than either of these and a stop here. And stronger stop would be here, but that's a little wider range to continue bearish, and it starts to break down. So this is, even just playing this candle was a great setup here. So tight here, so small on that candle, that range, and you might be up, a quarter of an R or something here. You come right into these lows. This is now a shaved bottom, I believe. Oh wait, 2 cents. All right, pretty close. and it starts to bounce at the same level it bounced here. Similar volume, a little bit, picking up a little bit, but just 25 minutes here of some sideways chop that you wanted to continue lower. It's starting to look like a little bit of maybe this in here without the upper wick, or I'm just trying to look at some consolidations that we had, you know, one of these, actually maybe a little bit more like that. No, doesn't really have the large lower wicks. So I'm looking, trying to find something recently that it might look like. You know, thinking, is this sort of a consolidation at the bottom, or, you know, are we really gonna just take a dive even more? So start on the next candle, indecision again, tight on the range. We're actually above these bearish candles, which is the only thing bullish about this right now, is that you actually moved up a little bit more, and you could actually continue higher, breaking above that high of the stop down here if you were going counter trend. It's starting to look like maybe a double bottom, but you know, we're still thinking bearish, and then you throw in another one, and then you start moving a little higher. Okay, now you're on the same highs of these these bullish candles here, but you got 4 of them in a row, and you want this level to hold as resistance. So could it just roll over, or are we actually going a little bit higher? You know, you start to look back. This is a double bottom. It moved up, came right into resistance. You'd want it to pull back down, or just roll over and go down. But if it rolls back down and puts in a bouncing candle over here, you could carry that back up to the 1455 price, and it moves up and up and up, and it doesn't actually retest except for that wick there, not even enough to get back down to this neckline, but it does continue higher. You're going to contend with resistances. So this level is the lows of yesterday, now coming in to be new resistance. This looks really similar to a couple days ago, where we went down, came back up, didn't quite get as high as this level or that line, rolled over. So you'd think, okay, this is a good place to roll over. And some people were selling, but there were some people buying on that wick. The body is an inside candle. Then it breaks higher. And it's like, okay, it's going to get to, you know, that line. It's going to get to 1455, and instead it comes all the way up to 1468. 17 is the high. So 17 cents past that, you're right into the resistances you had yesterday, a line that we've had in here for a while. And okay, this is a good place that now you've taken out a high. You've made it actually a higher high in the day. Right now, this day looks bullish with that kind of move. Just the day candle. You've also got a long lower wick, if you look at the daily, to come back up to this point. Now we've got some indecision right on that resistance, some more indecision. If you want this to move higher, I mean, what are you going to get to? 1500? It's going to do one of these in reverse. It's going to break out, come back down, mosey around, and make its way back up. So many people have been going bearish that, you know, you really need to get through some of these, hit some stops to, you know, creep higher. But who's buying right here with the 100 the 100 simple moving average down around 1375 or something, whatever it was. So this is a bit of a evening star reversal right here, and it's not much range here. It's around 13 bucks to move between these two levels. So a little harder to make some you know, big gains on that, but you really got to know right where these lines are in the options to make that work. This one, it actually doesn't come down anymore. Excuse me, it comes back up to the 1468 price with the upper wick. Another one right at 1468. Another one, and it's starting to look like a little bit of a triangle or a wedge here that you know, you could see continue to go up or roll down. This could be a double top here, and it kind of works out as a double top, pulls down. Now this one taking out this low looks like, yeah, we're going to go lower. We're going to at least go to 1455, probably down into, you know, maybe this level where we had the support yesterday. So around 1450, 1449. Come down a little bit, and we throw in a bit of a wick below at 1453. Some indecision now on this line, and you want to continue lower. Here's a pause right here, retest from below, and this candle's low is 1450.46. So if you're watching, that's a good place to get out. You're into the exponential. You just rolled this down a little bit here. That's if you bought puts up here and you got something moving a little bit further. You're right at a good support level around 1450. And we'll see if another candle, so another candle would have actually hit the target. So it's a great place to actually take some profits on a bearish move, or lock in a little bit of gain, move your stop to this level from up here, and just to continue to hang on to that trade for it to continue to roll down. And it's looking like it does that until right here, another indecision candle. And this one is pretty tight. This one's got only about a $5 range. It's right on an old support, new resistance, breakthrough. Now it's coming back and retesting as support. And so let's see what happens. Actually bounces a little bit. So this looks like a Morningstar reversal on a support. We could just come back up here and then roll down. And we come up, indecision on that line. Looks like we're breaking higher. And the day kind of just looked like it chopped around like that. So we're on these lines, and there's not some large movements. We put in large movement in the morning, put on some large movements the last few days. This is just a good day to, if anybody else was buying off of here, they got stopped out here. A lot of selling, and then, double bottom and just rally back up. And this is just a great pause. Here, if you look at the hourly, this is a much slower move on the day. These candles are somewhat consolidating, some lower highs, some higher lows, or relative lows. But I love having that indecision candle right here. Slightly inside of the range of this candle. So if somebody bought here on a reversal, somebody could be buying here on a reversal. And we actually have a squeeze fire to the bearish side, but we actually bounce right back up into the 1455. And then look like we're going to sell off again, a little bit of low, then come back up, then a little bit of low. It's like, okay, we've definitely got lower highs on the 5, and we got relative lows. And another one, wicks down in here, comes down. This is another consolidation within 15 minutes here. A little bit different than this move, but I guess you've got 20 minutes of selling, some consolidation. Your squeeze is refiring or reforming, and you're losing your bearish momentum here. And so it's like, okay, this could actually come back up, and it actually came back up. Didn't actually break below the lows here, which is pretty phenomenal that it held these relative lows. And this right here is our first, not quite, we're right on the edge of having a break higher, which would have made a higher high. And after this many bullish candles, you want to actually wait for pullback into 1455 and then buy in, looking for a move up to 1468, because right now we're stuck under this 1468 resistance. So let's see what happens. And it just continues moving up. So a lot of buying candles here, not much retest, maybe here, but you would have had to be watching this to get something, waiting for a breakout, get in on that pullback, and then just hold on and exit out at 1468 exactly to the penny. So there you go. Let's see, I think there's a little more. Yeah, so another evening star reversal. Looks like a double top here. Retest the neckline. This looks like it come back down. Maybe it could come back down to the 1446 range that we saw yesterday. And it starts to actually come down right into 1455 and then bounces. And I think that's about the end of the day. Yeah, so that's where the close is. Extremely similar close to yesterday. The close here is 8 cents higher than yesterday's. And we opened, let's see if the open price makes sense. We opened at 1458. So this is actually a bullish candle with a very long lower tail. And that's what we're seeing here. So this is, we're definitely into this range some more. After 3 bearish candles, it makes sense to have, a candle that could be showing a reversal. it would totally make sense that tomorrow we gap down, go down to the 100, and have all these bearish candles, and then see Amazon gap up to any of these levels to get above it, especially getting above the 1578 price here. That would trap so many bears here, so many bears through here. There'd be still some bears here as resistance, but that would actually be a bullish breakout of our triangle here. On the flip side of that, if we come down a little bit more, I want to see this 100 hold, but if we end up gapping below, it depends on if we have this kind of candle tomorrow, and then we gap below it. That'd be another bullish candle here. That'd be a bearish gap and go, because now you're actually taking out some of these lows and moving lower in the previous day or tomorrow's candle would be bullish. So take a look back at on the daily. So take a look at and figure out what you want to do, where you want it to open, what you want it to do, and then wait for it to do that either tomorrow or for options for earnings, and do some options expiration plays. So if we zoom out on this, we can see the consolidation we had here, a breakout, a retest, and actually zooming out like this, you can see a little bit of a bigger picture. This kind of starts to look like a left shoulder, a head, a right shoulder. This could be up here, could be something that's going to come back down to 1468 and bounce through here, making a bullish candle, and then we still gap up and it's a retest gap, or we bounce up and then we actually come back in and take out this low. That'd be very bearish, that even all these buyers are losing. So we'll zoom in here on today's candles, and on this kind of move, you would have to have been buying in this range from yesterday and selling that, and a double bottom forming, gotten out for profit or trailed your stop, and then see it rally. So you look for something similar, and especially these lows are phenomenal. Look for something similar on an option, and if you do that, it should be relatively close to the money, not necessarily in the money, but something close that it could be, which would give it some more purchase volume, being that at that price. So this is the 1500 calls. You can see as it moved all the way down, to low 1400s. The price on this was still 1700 bucks. You get the double bottom. It could have been buying here. You just had to play a little bit looser, and that's tough to do with a smaller R. But if you had a little bit larger R, these hash marks, the horizontal marks going across, are $200. And so it's possible to have ridden some of this rally here, or taken a retest here back into a similar range for this consolidation. There were some moves you could have done here to the upside, but this whole time we've been bearish. So here's what you could have done on the bearish moves. Immediately, open rallied on this put, came way back down, actually below the low here for the point in Amazon when it actually rallied and then ran to resistance. But down here, this would be a nice place to play this as buy a put at that resistance, and you have a good price that you're getting into here for a nice big move. Come back down. It would have been harder to get into some of these. You might have been chasing some entries if you weren't nimble enough. And then this one here comes right back down to this range earlier, which is phenomenal. But then it doesn't really get too much higher. Again, this is the 1450. I think the 1475 I was looking at also. No, it wasn't 75. 25. No, something doesn't look right. You've seen some of these movements, these chops around, but I thought there was an option I saw earlier that actually put in some lows that were around the same, but I'm not seeing that. Maybe it was these closer ones. Oh, here you go. So I don't remember looking at this one, but 1460, you had some lows here and some lows here. Moved a little bit, but I thought I had one. I thought I'd seen one where this low was down here, but I'm not finding what that option would have been right now. So sorry I lost track of what that was. And but that's the kind of thing you want to look for. So for the option still to be putting in a base, I'm just punching these in trying to find what it could be. Yeah, that one's not much volume on that. 20. It didn't. This middle one didn't come back down. So anyway, the other thing you can do is see that yesterday had a low. So let me go back to like the 50 and see. So yesterday had this low, very similar low here, and actually the one we were just looking at was the 25. You know, you almost have dollar amount the same. So this low here was 28.15, 28.14, and this one here is 28.75. I guess that seemed closer. Maybe it's just because we're zoomed out on what we can see. Yeah, so I guess that was a little bit lower. But had you been well aware of where your price was yesterday, you know, you could have traded something when it came back down to that price and bounced, or even here and bounced. But you got to pick options that are forming like that, especially on these more expensive times, like option or earning. There's an option expiration. I'm thinking the E, but no, earnings. But you know, having these levels defined in here for where you could buy. Let me zoom back out and show. Okay, so any of these, you know, buying here, this didn't make it up quite as far. This barely made it up anywhere, and then we come back up here. You know, relative high here, and you know it's pretty close to the price range, and then it did actually sell back down, but only to 14.5. So you could have made you know a couple hundred on buying at the low and selling it. Sorry, buying at the high on the stock and selling at the low here into the closing rest of the day. So a lot of places just have some movement. I'm looking forward to Friday to see some of these movements and get into something that that mitigates risk and has an opportunity for some larger gains. So hope you enjoyed the video, and stay tuned for tomorrow to see what we think is going to happen, and we should have earnings information for tomorrow's video. So we'll check that out. All right, this is Justin AMZN. Thank you.